Even though the divorce action between Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise was settled several weeks ago and the case was officially closed on the 20th of August, many folks are still buzzing about how quickly the matter was resolved. I'm Spencer Mazyck, and joining me now is one of the attorneys who represented Tom Cruise, Marilyn Chinitz. She is a partner at Blank Rome who specializes in complex divorce actions. Welcome, Marilyn. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So first, let me just ask you, how large was the team of attorneys who represented Tom Cruise in this matter?
My firm worked together with Tom's lawyers from Los Angeles, and Katie had New York counsel, and she had an attorney from New Jersey. So there were quite a few attorneys who worked very well together.
So you were working right alongside Burt Fields and Dennis Wasser,
That's
who actually
correct.
handled Cruise's first divorce from his first two wives. But so how were you roped into the Holmes divorce proceedings?
Well, I've handled cases in California before with co-counsel, and so what happens is you get to know a lot of the matrimonial bar. And I was very happy when we were called and asked to participate, and we got involved.
That's nice. And some people actually said that part of the reason why Katie filed in New York, it was sort of a strategic move, but is there a reason why a client would prefer to file for divorce in New York versus California?
Well, generally speaking, you have to have residence in the state. You can't just pick up and go wherever you want to go. That's called forum shopping.
Okay.
And the courts don't like that. So you have to meet the residential requirement. If you're lucky enough to have several homes and you spend significant time, sometimes one could evaluate whether or not California would provide better laws than New York or Texas. California has community state. It's a community state. New York is an equitable distribution state. What that means is in New York, the property will be divided equitably. And what does equitably mean? Whatever a particular judge in a particular courtroom feels. Mm-hmm. California is community. It's 50-50. Whatever assets were acquired during the marriage will be divided equally. So the states are different wherever you go. And if you have the ability to determine a jurisdiction, you will evaluate which laws would suit your situation best.
Well, so back to the case for just a second. As you know, the case settled less than 2 weeks after Katie filed for divorce in New York. I have to ask you, and I know you can't talk about the specifics of the settlement, but can you at least tell us, how did you come to a settlement so quickly?
Well, I think, regardless of the case that you're working on, I think when you have competent counsel, professionals who really want to do the best thing that they can for their clients, they're going to work together. And the objective is not to throw mud or to make the case more complicated, it's to simplify it. So I think whatever case you're working on as an attorney, as a professional attorney, you look at what are the real facts here? What are the issues here? How do we close those gaps? And it's a wonderful thing. You know, certainly lawyers can drag cases out. Mm-hmm. It doesn't benefit anyone except maybe their own pocket. That's not the objective that we had. Our objective was to, as in any case, to identify the issues and see how we can resolve for the best of the parties and most importantly for children.
Well, so what factors, you mentioned children, what other factors might motivate parties or clients to settle early?
Money. It's incredibly costly to litigate. Okay. And the cost factors are enormous. You're better off taking those monies and putting it into your child's college account and saving it. And I wish people would know that from the onset. When we meet with clients, very often we tell them, look, this is, having now listened to the facts and assessed the case, we think the case ought to settle in this manner. 99.9% we're right, but clients are not willing at that juncture to listen to what's being told. They're fueled by sometimes anger. Anger, animosity. Animosity. I want to strike back. I don't care what it's going to cost me. But at the end, when we circle back and we look at, and I always keep that paper, these are the terms that I recommended. These are the terms that we're now settling on. We're really close.
Oh, wow. And so how do you, if there is animosity there, do you have a method that you use to try to get the parties to put that aside and to come together?
I think it takes a strong attorney. I think you have to sit your client down and say, I don't think this is the right thing to do. I think you're making a mistake and I'll tell you why. And hopefully your client trusts you. I mean, they're there with you because they trust you, and they're going to listen to your advice, and you really have to work with your client. And I think one of the things that I really pride myself, I have a very close relationship with my clients. You commented earlier, wow, you have 3 phones. I do. And that is because as a matrimonial attorney, you are on 24/7. You have to be available to your clients. And they develop a trust, and you become their advisor. And so you serve them well because they will listen to you.
Yeah, and what types of things might they call you about at midnight, or what types of topics might they ask you about?
There may be lots of issues. There may
Okay.
be issues about money. Someone didn't receive money and they're out of funds at this point. Or their children are away on vacation and they haven't heard from them, although there was an agreement that the other parent was going to make sure that the children were going to call. So there are issues that come up. They're family issues. In everybody's family, there's always going to be an issue that comes up, and you have to be there to listen and to put yourself into action if need be. I mean, there's a lot of crisis that could happen, and it's not just about money. Most often it's about the children. So you have to be able to be on call. It's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to do this kind of work, but if you are going to commit yourself, you have to give it 100%.
Are you able to sort of emotionally detach yourself from some of the issues?
Well, I think you do. It's like a doctor. You have to be objective. You can't be subjective because then you're not helping your client. You have to be able to pull back and evaluate the situation independently. So, yes, I take things to heart, no question. I like winning. I always like winning.
Right.
If I don't win, I don't like it. But you certainly are there to guide your client and not to get personally involved.
Well, so back to the Holmes Cruise case for just a second. Is this case different from any other divorce action that doesn't involve celebrities?
You know, I think most cases have a similar theme. I think what distinguishes some cases is the attention that it gets from the media.
Right, right.
I think that all of a sudden puts it in a different orbit, but it's not. Everybody is human. Everybody has similar issues, similar problems, similar concerns. Where do the children go to school? Who's the nanny? How are we going to pay for A, B, and C? So I think that there is clearly a level playing field. Everybody is very similar.
And speaking of the media, after the settlement, though, is your team responsible for sort of monitoring the media to make sure that there are no false reports about it?
Well, I think that independently there is an eye kept to make sure that there are no false reports. We as the attorneys really don't get involved, but there are those who are in place, because false and inaccurate reporting does terrible damage. It really does. And people ought to be left alone. Their children should be left alone. I know it's hard for the public to hear that, but everybody needs to have privacy in their personal matters. Enjoy
Right.
them while they're on the screen.
Yes, exactly. I want to also mention that you represented Michael Douglas.
I represented Michael in a lawsuit that was commenced by Deandra Douglas many years after they were divorced. She brought an action to try to obtain proceeds from Michael's second movie
On Wall Street.
Yes,
I remember
and that was dismissed out of New York. We successfully defended that lawsuit and had it dismissed out of New York.
What is it like representing Michael Douglas still and Tom Cruise?
Wonderful people. I mean, I think in life you evaluate who you're working with. If you like them, you enjoy working with them. If you feel that the person may not be wonderful, you may decide not to work with them regardless of who they are and what they stand for. I'm lucky. I had the most wonderful experience, as I do with most of my clients. I enjoy working with them, and Mr. Douglas and Mr. Cruise are no different.
That's great. And does your book of business just automatically increase after representing people like that?
You know, I'm a people collector.
Okay.
I enjoy people. I like talking to people. If I'm at a restaurant, it's not unusual for me to turn around and stir up a conversation with the people next to me. I think that you learn something from everyone, and you end up, wherever you go, you develop relationships with people, and those people remember you. You may do something that send them a note. We talked about a certain medical procedure. Here's a link. You might be interested in following that up. I think if you make people feel that they are important, even in a 5-minute conversation, you took something away, they will so appreciate that, and that resonates with people. And I find that that is my philosophy in life. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy doing things. If I have knowledge of something, I like connecting people. So that has brought me, fortunately, wonderful people in my life and business.
Well, and so what advice, though, would you give that advice to other attorneys who are looking to represent high-profile, famous people?
I think the most important thing is you have to be a good lawyer. You have to really work hard. No one's coming to you just because you have a nice face or you have a good smile. They're coming to you because of your reputation. They know that you're willing to go the mat, that you're willing to fight really hard, that you're going to really work to get something accomplished. That's why people refer business. That's why other lawyers respect you. That's why judges say, wow, you did a great job. That's what you want to be remembered by, and that's how you're going to build your business.
Well, I have to say you did a great job today, so thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Wonderful experience. Thank you.
For more information on this or other topics, subscribe to BloombergLaw.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.